Hey everybody, welcome in. It's Before the Sandstorm here on Gamecock Central. Kendall Smith and Jack Veltri joining you here. Happy game day, everybody. The first home game of the 2025 campaign for South Carolina is tonight, 7 o'clock. The Gamecocks taking on SC State at Williams-Brice Stadium. And Jack, I know you're excited. I know you love a 7 o'clock kickoff. Let's go. Gamecocks back at home, and I'm sure all the fans watching are very pumped up about this one.
Absolutely, Kendall. Yeah, and I hope you're doing well. Happy Saturday, everybody. And yeah, no, I mean, it's very exciting for the first home game at Willie B. I'm looking forward to getting over to the stadium here in a couple of hours and just seeing all the tailgates going on out there. Just football it's been back for a few weeks now, but it's like really, really back now that we got the first home game coming up this evening. And yeah, look, I'm not the hugest fan. I'm not the biggest fan of the night games just because I have to work late into the night. Let's just say it's going to be a long night. But I know the fans are going to be pumped up for this one, expecting a really good crowd since it's sold out. And I think it's going to be a good way to get the home slate started.
Well, everyone then needs to go read all of Jack's articles over on GamecockCentral.com because he will be working late in the night for all of you. And yes, those are late nights at Williams-Brice Stadium, but we can't complain about our jobs. They are seriously the best. And when you get to experience Willie B at night, it really is unlike anything else, especially since they upgraded the stadium a few seasons ago. They now have the light show. They'll have a ton of recruits out there as well today. Wes and I did a recruiting rundown yesterday, so go check that out because we go through some of those big names that will be there. But this game obviously super important for what will happen on the field, but really important for a lot of off of the field things too, including recruiting. So that's a whole other side of things. But today we're just talking what we expect to see from South Carolina this weekend. And Jack, when you play a team like SC State, it might offer an opportunity to see some guys that we don't typically get to see play in a game situation. So we'll talk about guys that we might want to see get some game action today, what we can expect of SC State, and just more about today's game. That's what Before the Sandstorm is all about. We brought it back last week. It is a game day show where we talk everything South Carolina in their matchup for the week. So we're excited about this week. Hello to everybody watching. Before we get into it though, Jack, let's go ahead and give a shout out to Clint Hammond, the one and only.
Absolutely. So like Kendall said, if you are watching us live right now, you're seeing us on screen. Hello, everyone. Look above us here. You see all this information about Clint Hammond here. You have no idea what I'm talking about, and you're just listening. You can't see us or anything. Talking about Clint Hammond of CMG Home Loans. If you are in the market to buy a home or you need help with any of your mortgage needs, Clint can get you started on that path towards buying that dream home, or like I said, helping you out with your mortgage. He's been in the industry for more than 20 years now. He's also a die-hard South Carolina fan, and he's also a longtime supporter of Gamecock Central and everything we do here. You see him every single time above us here on our GC Live programs, including Before the Sandstorm. So if you've listened to us before, you've probably heard us talk about him. The number to call is 803-422-6797. The NMLS number for him is 71597. Or go to clinthammond.com for more information. Again, this will be above us here on screen all episode long.
We appreciate Clint and all he does. And yeah, how about the field? It does look really great. I mean, it looks amazing. And I have to give a shout out to Zach. He's the director of graphic design for South Carolina. And he is super, super talented. Justin King put out an Instagram post about him a couple of days ago and just talked about the work that he's done to make the field look the way that it does. And he said he's as big of a Gamecock fan as they come. And he was a kid, you know, his dad was bringing him to games, and now he's the guy that designed the field that South Carolina plays on. So Zach, the director of graphic design for Gamecock football, crushed it. He did an amazing job, and the field looks great. I can't wait to see it with game action here tonight.
It looks so good. Like when Carolina announced that the Blanchard Machinery sponsorship was going to be on the field at the 25-yard line, a lot of people, and honestly, I had some media members were kind of like, you know, why are people so, you know, annoyed about the palmetto trees? And I'm telling them, like, I've had a ton of people like be like on the message board and stuff, like, where are the palmetto trees going? Why are they getting rid of them? All this and that. And then, you know, I asked Jeremiah Donati, the AD, about it in the press conference a few weeks ago when they announced the advertisement on the field. And he said, just wait till September 6th. They'll be surprised then. And then, of course, we know now what the field is going to look like. So you'll have the Blanchard Machinery logo at the 25-yard line. And we'll see if it's in that. I think it's going to be in that yellow logo, not anything like garnet specific or anything. We'll see tonight. But then you have the end zones are all garnet with the Carolina and the Gamecocks logo on each side. And then you have the palmetto tree at the end on the left. So I think it looks super clean. Again, South Carolina does a great job keeping up with its field and making sure it looks pristine. And I'm looking forward to seeing this thing with my own eyes tonight because I don't think pictures will do it full justice.
Yeah, send me a photo, Jack. I can't wait to see it on TV.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course. Yeah. But yeah, the end zones look amazing, and I can't wait to see it. I actually think it's an upgrade from what it looked like. So
yeah, it doesn't look as
sorry anyone disagrees, but I think it's an upgrade. I think it looks better. So can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see the guys out there today. 7:00 this evening. That is kickoff between South Carolina and South Carolina State. Okay, let's talk about the opponent here, Jack. South Carolina State, most people are expecting South Carolina to easily win this game. They should easily win this game. But what can we expect out of an opponent like SC State? Because they do have talent. They're very well coached, and they're a talented team.
Yeah, no, you can definitely expect a team that is going to come in here and give it their best shot. I mean, they're led by second-year head coach Shanice Berry. So if you know that name, if it sounds familiar at all, it's because he did coach at Benedict right down the road here in Columbia for years. Really helped that program get off the ground and make some really big progress. And then he takes over for Buddy Pugh, legendary head coach at SC State, takes over last year, leads the Bulldogs to a 9-win season where they did end up losing to Jackson State in the Celebration Bowl, which is like I don't know how to describe it, but it's like it's the big game at the end of the year for the HBCU schools. And so SC State made it and they ended up falling short, but still a great season nonetheless. This is a team that I think you listen to what Barry had to say in his press conference the other day. I mean, he's fired up. I mean, he's an energetic guy that is very hard-nosed, ready to do whatever it takes to win a game. And that's what I think we're going to see tonight now. Do I think South Carolina is going to win? No problem. Absolutely. But I think early on we could see a little bit of a fight in this game. And you go back to – we only have a one-game sample size of SC State this season, but it's kind of crazy. They went for – 408 yards against Wofford last week, yet they only won 16-15. It's just strange when you go for over 400 yards, Kendall. It's like you should win handedly.
Yeah.
But for most of the night, it just wasn't looking that way. And again, they needed to score late in the fourth quarter to end up winning that game. They did run a 2-quarterback system with Billy Atkins and then Ryan Stubblefield. I would expect to see probably both guys play again tonight. 107.5, we were talking with SC State's play-by-play radio man, Ernest Robinson, on Thursday, and he was just talking about how we should probably expect to see both of these quarterbacks play in this game tonight. So that could pose some problems for South Carolina, but it's not like they haven't seen a 2-quarterback system over the last few years. I think even, if I'm remembering correctly, I think Akron ran a 2 QB system last season. So I know they've faced it over the last few years in the Shane Beamer era. But again, this is a team that I think is going to really come out, try to do everything it can to win defensively. They held Wofford to 135 yards total. And I mean, again, they ran 91 plays last week. So I'm going to be interested to see if South Carolina can run a lot more plays tonight. I think they should be able to. I think it was in the 50s for them against Virginia Tech. So you hope they're able to get a higher play count, score early, score often, put this game out of reach by halftime. And then, like you said, Kendall, earlier, hopefully we start seeing some of these other guys that are backups, younger guys, freshmen. Hope they all really get to play tonight.
Yeah, and that's always the key for South Carolina. We say it every single week. I mean, do a count of it by the end of the season. Just get off to a good start, and that is what the Gamecocks are obviously hoping for because, yeah, you do hope that you can kind of mix it up a little bit and put some guys in there that don't typically get to see a ton of playing time or that we haven't seen a lot of so far this year. Obviously, we only have one game to base it off of, but maybe some guys that you don't expect will be starters, at least for the foreseeable future. And yes, I do have a lot of South Carolina hats, so I'll be sure to wear that next week. I'm just, wearing my hockey. I have my Miracle on Ice.
Also, do you want to mention the cool thing that you were telling me before the show about
I'm wearing this because I'm very excited. I'm going to the Olympics. So
Which is
when I
so
was
cool.
growing up, I thought I would go to the Olympics to be an athlete as a figure skater, but that did not pan out. I made it decently far, but not good enough to go to the Olympics. But I will be in Italy in February of 2026 for the Olympics. So I
Which is
cannot wait
so cool.
for that. And I will wear a South Carolina hat in Italy. I will represent the Gamecocks worldwide when I am there for the Olympics. But yeah, Jack, you hope that you can get some guys in there later today that we haven't seen a lot of so far. So let's talk about that. If South Carolina is able to get a comfortable lead here, and again, South Carolina State is a very talented team, and we'll see, how this all shakes out. But again, if you get a comfortable lead in your South Carolina, who are some guys that you would like to see get some action tonight, some playing time tonight that you haven't seen too much of so far?
I think we need to see all 4 quarterbacks play tonight. I think that is number one. And look, if Luke Doty really is your backup quarterback, then you need to play him a good bit in this game. Like, you need to see him out there for, let's say Lenoris plays the entire first half. Luke Doty needs to be out there for probably the entire third quarter, in my opinion, or at least most of a quarter, just so you can get him freshened up. He hasn't played quarterback full time since 2022. So it's been a while since he's really taken snaps under center in a game like setting. So, and we know how important he is to this team and what he brings with the veteranship and leadership qualities and all that. But seriously, like, if Lenoris were to ever go down at some point in the year, knock on wood that doesn't happen, you need a backup quarterback, and you hope Luke is that guy. I'd like to also see Aaron Nolan, Cutter Woods, those guys for sure. Even a guy, Garnet Yardbird brings him up, Jaquel Holloman. I think that's another guy I want to see. I want to see a lot of these young guys get in there for sure. I know they got some young defensive ends and linebackers that they got in the rotation and stuff that they need to get in there and potentially play tonight. And again, all the guys that, have a chance to redshirt this year, you can play in 4 games plus a bowl game, and you're still able to redshirt. So playing tonight, like if you're Cutter Woods or whoever, won't hurt you at all, or even Jaquel Holloman won't hurt you to play in this game tonight. So I think those guys would definitely be some I want to see. I do want to see more of the running backs. I think we got Oscar Attaway, we got Rasul Faison last week. Saw a little bit of Isaiah Augustavi. I think that's how his name is pronounced. I heard Shane saying it the other day. I think we've all been saying it wrong, Augustave. So Augustavi, I think, is how you pronounce his last name now. We saw him a few snaps last week, didn't get any touches. I would like to see what he's got. We've heard so much about him from fall camp since he got here to South Carolina in June. I'd like to see him do his thing. And then also, I was just about to lead into this, but Garnet Yardbird is just reading my mind. Jawarn Howell, let's see him get in the end zone tonight. He is a former SC State Bulldog, ran for a ton of yards 2 seasons ago with the Bulldogs. I would like to see him get a lot of touches tonight, maybe when this game's out of hand. And I mean, that's what it's about tonight, getting all your young guys in there. And I remember last year at the Wofford game, Bradley Dunn, senior running back who's still with the team for one more year, scored a touchdown at the end of the game. You have all the guys dogpiling him and stuff. I think that these are what these types of games are about. Like, yeah, we're not going to learn a ton about this team from a game like tonight, but it is an opportunity to get a lot of younger guys and also some older guys that have been around the program for years get some playing time, since this could be some of their only games that they're going to be able to play in.
Yeah, I agree with this. This was actually what Matt is saying is what I was going to add on as well. Everything that you said, I completely concur with, but I also would like to see some of these younger receivers get some more opportunities. I think that would be cool. We've talked so much about how much Shane Beamer is going to rely on these young guys this year in that receiver room to make an impact on this team. And so I think this is a great opportunity to get them out there and get them experience and have them, go do their thing. So that's another thing I'm hoping for today as well, is just to see a bunch of different guys out there and kind of, get a feel for those young guys in the receiver room, because they have been a huge talk of this offseason for us and for everyone that's focused on South Carolina football. So I think that that will be so fun. Yeah, this would be awesome.
This would be cool. So we got a comment here from R. Zinke. I don't know if there's a better way to pronounce it, but a Lenore Sellers to Jaden Sellers touchdown. I believe we did get to see him a little bit in the season opener. He didn't get any targets or anything. That's the other thing, Kendall. Like, I'll piggyback off what you said about the receivers. We need to see the receivers getting more involved tonight. I think Mike Shula made a good point the other day during the press conference, was that he wants the offense to be diversified. And what he kind of means by that is the fact of getting everyone involved, making sure all the tight ends, all the receivers, all the running backs are a weapon on offense. And so we only saw 2 receivers have catches last week, much less get targeted, with Nick Harbor and who am I thinking of here? I lost my train of thought. Oh, Donovan Murphy. There's so many freshman receivers. It's tough to keep up with them sometimes. But, you want to see more guys get targeted in this game. And so, look, if we get a Lenore's to Jaden Sellers touchdown in this game, that would be pretty sick. That would be very much akin to when Lenore's came in against Furman. And, we still talk about that one play to this day, that 50-plus yard touchdown pass to Tyshawn Russell, which I still believe, I will confidently say, that was one of the best throws I've ever seen. Just crisp, perfect, right on the money. Let's see it tonight with
when that happened, that is when everybody was like just completely on the hype.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was the moment where people were like, yes, Lenora Sellers is our future. And it only took that one throw. But you're right. That throw was like, that is forever ingrained in my mind. Amazing.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, we'll see who gets involved here tonight, but hoping to see some different guys out there, and we'll see what happens. Jack, when we look at a game like this one, SC State, South Carolina going head-to-head tonight at Williams-Brice Stadium, when South Carolina walks away from this game, besides obviously getting a win, that would make it successful, what do you think they need to do besides getting in some of these younger guys to know that, okay, this was a successful game for us? We're feeling good as we head into our next week, taking on our first SEC opponent of the season in Vanderbilt.
Just a few things. Number one, make sure the offense, the first team offense, is rolling tonight. Make sure they get enough scoring drives in there in the first half to where it's like you feel good about where that unit is at, regardless of who's on defense with SC State or whoever. Like, you definitely want to make sure that offense is rolling. And at the same time, like Matt says here, no sacks tonight. That would be a huge confidence boost for this offensive line. And I do think we should see some differences on the offensive line tonight. I'm not sure what it's going to look like until game time, but we did hear Shane Beamer say the other day at Carolina Calls that Shed Surratt, freshman offensive lineman from Gaffney here in South Carolina, is expected to be available to play tonight. So we will see if he potentially starts. We know the offensive line was pretty rough last week. We know left guard specifically was an issue since Rodney Newsom, who was starting at the guard spot, was taken out before after halftime when Marquis Anderson came in and played left guard the rest of the way. Does Marquis start tonight? Does Rodney Newsom get the start? On the depth chart, it appears Rodney Newsom would be the starter, but I have a feeling that depth chart is from going into the Virginia Tech game, just because it has all the injured guys on there as starters with Judge Collier, and you have JT Gear on there as well. Both those guys will not play tonight. So we'll see some differences on defense as well. So we'll see if Shed potentially starts tonight. And then I think from a special team standpoint, and also you want to see the defense doing their thing and staying healthy, of course. But from a special team standpoint, you want to get these guys in as many situations as you can, like the kicking situation. Do we see Williams-Brice kick how many times tonight? Do we see Joe DeCamillis hinted at the other day, there could be an opportunity for someone else to be kicking from longer ranges, just because maybe Williams-Brice isn't the best long-range kicker. We don't know that. Maybe that will be the case tonight. Maybe we'll see him kick some long field goals. But we also could see some other guys potentially with bigger legs kicking in deeper spots. Then, of course, avoid the sloppy plays as well. So there's a lot you want to see from tonight, in addition to seeing young guys get in there. But those are just some of the key highlights for me.
In this point, staying healthy, I think, is obviously priority number one. So, yeah, you want South Carolina to come out of this game feeling good as they head into, again, Vanderbilt next week, their first SEC opponent of the season. Jack, you talked about this earlier. You're hoping, like, at half, when you're coming back from halftime, like, you're feeling pretty good.
Totally. I think
some of those guys.
I will be shocked if this is not like a 3 or 4 score game at halftime. Like South Carolina, this is not the South Carolina of earlier years in the Beamer era where we're not sure what I think they're going to be. I think this is a very good team. I think South Carolina is now in their top 10 team in the country. They are pretty good on defense again, it's one game, but the defense looked really good last week. I thought special teams looked sharp. I even think the offense, despite not looking great in the second and third quarter, I think they showed some flashes with Lenoris out there and obviously Nick Harbor doing his thing. And even the run game wasn't too bad either. So I do think South Carolina is going to be up by enough at halftime to where they should be able to get a lot of these young guys in there, maybe even some other guys who just don't play a lot that have been around the program for a few years. So by third quarter, we should see a lot of guys getting in there.
All right, Jack, we're getting towards the end of the show. We already put this out on GamecockCentral.com, but we'll tell everybody watching here as well. Score predictions, and then we'll go through a couple big games happening this week around the college football world and see what we think. What do we got for South Carolina, SC State?
Absolutely. So I think South Carolina, like I've said before, this game should be no problem tonight. I don't think you're going to be sweating much at all. Again, play well in all three phases, stay healthy, allow no sacks. Those are my keys to the game right there. I think South Carolina is going to win this game 52-6, and it should really be a bit of a blowout in this one and have a fun night at Willie-B.
I have them winning 38-9. So I gave the offense a little less. I think it could be more. It just depends on what happens, and it depends on if they decide to pump the brakes or, whatever happens. But that's where I have this game landing here tonight. But yeah, I mean, if South Carolina is rolling from an offensive standpoint, you could see, this game be extremely high scoring. So we'll see what happens. We know they have the capability to do that. We look around the rest of college football and what's going on. What do you think is the best game of the week? I mean, obviously we know what College Game Day thinks, but what do you think, Jack? And by the way, that's why we put the show at noon. Okay, we didn't want to compete with College Game Day. We wanted to give them. We didn't want our show to take away viewers from them, so we decided to give ESPN and College Game Day their opportunity. We were feeling generous today.
Honestly, besides the game tonight, which I think is a really big one between not South Carolina State. The game between Oklahoma and Michigan is obviously the biggest game of the weekend. But might I say, I really do think the game that gets slept on a lot is Kansas and Missouri. A really good rivalry, the border war, one that we have not seen in well over a decade. That game kicks off at 3:30 this afternoon from Como. It is going to be a really interesting game just because these are two teams that in their conferences are probably middle of the pack, but a win today probably does wonders for them. And again, it's a really underrated rivalry that we have not seen since the early 2010s. So I'm looking forward to this game. I'll even give a pick for this game. I have Missouri winning this one.
I have, what did I put? I have Missouri winning that game as well. I'm looking at what I sent you in the email, Jack. I have Missouri winning that game too. And then let's go ahead and talk Michigan at Oklahoma because that's a big one, obviously, where College Game Day was today in Norman. I have Oklahoma winning that game. I'm rocking with the SEC. So what do we think, Jack?
I think Oklahoma wins this game. This is a huge, huge, huge game for Oklahoma because we know what happened last year. They were not good last year, really at all. Brent Venables kind of needs this one really, really badly this weekend to kind of get back in the good graces of the folks out there in Norman. Like a win tonight would do wonders for Oklahoma because I think it changes the dynamic of the entire season. If you can be a team like Michigan, not say Michigan's the greatest team in the world, they're pretty good since they're ranked in the top 15. But if you can go out there and beat a team like Michigan tonight, that really does wonders for the confidence of getting into SEC play here in a few weeks. I think starting with Auburn for Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken. So I think Oklahoma wins this one.
Does the SEC sweep? Well, Ole Miss is taking on Kentucky, so one of them.
Yeah, one of them's going to lose. We both have Ole Miss winning that game. I think everybody on staff picks had Ole Miss winning that game. It's just I hate to be that Debbie Downer, but I don't think Kentucky's very good. So they did not look great against Toledo. And
do you hate to be a Debbie Downer?
I do. I don't like to be negative. I mean, I like being positive. I like being happy. For as much as I.
But does it tear you up to say Kentucky isn't going to maybe be very good?
No, I just call it how it is. They're not a very good team. And if they shock the world here in a few weeks, then I'll eat my words. But I don't see that happening.
My brother is in his Ole Miss gear today, ready to roll. He is very, very excited. So we
Revenge game too. So
yeah, we can't wait for November 1st. South Carolina, Ole Miss. We got a lot more before the Sandstorms to go before we get there, though. Yeah, Jack is always bringing the positive.
Of course I am. I'm gonna bring it tonight. So.
Jack, if anything, how I would describe his vibes are real. Jack is going to give you the real vibes. He's going to tell you how he feels.
Gotta be authentic. So.
Regardless. And we appreciate that and we love that. And we appreciate all of you for joining us here on Before the Sandstorm. This is always so much fun to preview game day, do it on game day. We'll be back next week, obviously, when South Carolina takes on Vanderbilt. But before that, we'll be back for GC Live next week, too, to recap this game, talk about next week's game. But tonight, it's South Carolina back at Williams-Brice Stadium, 7 o'clock, taking on SC State under the lights in Columbia. And I know so many of you are going to the game. So if you're going, have so much fun, be safe. If you are watching from home, enjoy it. Let us know what you think of how the field looks on TV. If you're Jack watching in the press box, try to drink some coffee so you can stay awake. And if you're me watching at a baseball game, try to keep your phone nice and low and pay attention to the ball that might be coming in your direction. If it's a foul ball, that's going to be me. So we're all watching in different ways, but we're all going to be tuning in or at the game for South Carolina SC State. We're excited about it. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today on Before the Sandstorm, and we will see you all soon. Happy game day, everybody. Enjoy it. Kendall Smith and Jack Veltri joining you here, and we'll be back with more later. Bye.